interview consultant and an internationally recognized job search strategist. Her insights have shaped careers across industries, helping professionals craft compelling resumes, ace interviews, and build standout personal brand. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the incredible Anne Galloway. Anne, how are you today?
Great, thank you. You make me out to be so great. Thank you. I'm not used to hearing all of that, but really appreciate it. Yeah, good to be here.
It's my absolute pleasure to have you on the SHAQ podcast. It's an honor, to be very honest. And the last time, just let me audience, just want to let you know this. Last time we scheduled the session in January, and because of some technical difficulties, and because there were some technical difficulties, we were not able to complete the session. And Anne agreed to be back on the session again, and thank you so much, Anne, for coming back on this session. And I hope you're doing all fine. And how's the weather today, to be very honest, at your place?
With me, yeah, not great. I'd say grey, raining, yeah. Typical February in the Netherlands, yes.
Same as last time.
Yes, right. So January and February are not great months here, but yeah, you get used to it. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm having the perfect weather, and I'm going to go forward with the session today. Okay. So now let's engage our audience. Now, audience, if you have ever felt stuck in your career, struggled with writing the perfect resume, or dreaded job interviews, then this episode is tailor-made for you and has helped professionals worldwide navigate these challenges with confidence. So grab a notebook because you're about to get some career-changing insights from the great one. So, Anne, before we start this session, would you be kind enough to please let us know about your journey? Your career journey is nothing short of remarkable. From being a cost and contracts analyst to becoming an award-winning career coach. That's a massive transformation. Many people hesitate to take such bold leaps in their careers. What inspired you to make such a transformative career shift?
I think it's circumstances played a huge role for sure. I did enjoy my job as a cost and contracts engineer, but latterly the company downsized and there was a chance to go, and I thought it's time to do something for myself. I'm always looking to learn new things. So I decided to start my own business. I ended up as a small business consultant and had an amazing bunch of clients in Scotland. And then my husband's job got transferred to the Netherlands, and so I thought, it's 2 years, I'll just take 2 years out. 2 years has turned into 18, and to be honest, within the first year I really struggled with not working. I'd always worked, even if it'd been part-time after having kids, so I needed to find something else to do. So with my passion for training and learning, I just embarked on several different courses. Child psychology was one, but that wasn't for me. I then did life coaching, and I gained a lot of great skills through that. But again, it wasn't quite what I was looking for. And that's when I realized that I actually went on a course myself to figure out what it was I really should or would like to do. And as a result of that, I ended up being a careers coach, and then it developed into resume writing. I expanded into that, and then expanded into interview training and job search. So it's just constantly wanting to learn and make sure I'm ahead of the game when it comes to helping out my clients. So everything I learn, I pass on. More recently, I've been trying to do that by writing books as well. So I'm now diversifying, but the question of how I got to where I was just purely circumstance. I think everybody at some point hits a crossroads in their career. They want to change, for whether they want it or it's thrown on them. And it's a brilliant opportunity to revisit what you do, what you enjoy doing. And yes, it's scary, but it's also, when one door closes, another always opens. So it's a great opportunity. And I grabbed it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Wow, that's an inspiring journey. Your ability to reinvent yourself and help others is truly remarkable. I must say this.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of which, so you have worked in Scotland, or have you been taking clients from all over the world, or only specifically local or from Scotland? How is it?
Oh, so my clients are international. I've been based in the Netherlands now, and I work purely from the Netherlands. And with things like Zoom and Teams, you can work with anybody anywhere, so long as you can juggle the time difference. And I still mess that up sometimes, to be honest, the time difference with some countries. But I've worked with people in some of the smaller African countries. I've worked with people in the States, in Australia, in Asia, so all over. I will say the majority of my clients are people who are either already in the Netherlands or looking to move to the Netherlands. But I've been lucky enough to work with people in lots of different countries. Which is great, because it's the chance to meet all these people as well. Is fantastic. And hearing about, learning about the different cultures, and sometimes helping them. If somebody coming to the Netherlands, I can help them a little bit with the cultural differences here, or with the UK as well. These are really good things to watch out for when you're moving countries, is not just that you have a strong CV, a strong experience, but that you understand the nuances of the different cultures as well. I wouldn't say that I understood the nuances of lots of cultures, but I do the Dutch and the British cultures for sure. So yeah, I've worked with people worldwide, really, which is an amazing experience for me. So lucky. Yeah.
Awesome. And there is so much to learn from you, and for me and for my followers and the audience who are watching right now, see, they can learn so much from you. Now, I would like to ask my audience, could you please let us know where you are listening us from? And also, if you are able to hear us properly or not. And especially, and also, I just want to let you know that if you've got any doubts, any questions you have, just let them flowing in the comments box, and I'm going to make sure that I put across those. I put the questions to Anne, and she would be very happy to answer them all, but at the end of the session, to be very honest. Because we are going to discuss some very hot topics regarding the current job market. What is the one mistakes job seekers are making right now, and what are the alternatives when you are not able to get a job? What can you do? So we are going to discuss all that. So make sure you benefit from this session and learn from the session. And at the end of the session, just go and follow Anne. And if you want career coaching or interview preparation or resume writing services, then Anne is the person you need to speak. Okay, coming to Anne. Anne, now, tough questions. First of all, I would like to start the session by discussing the current job market all over the world right now. Not only in the US, UK, or Australia, but all over the market. There have been many layoffs. Layoffs in the governments, in the tech sector. What do you have to say about the current situation of the job market right now?
Yeah, it's tough. It really is tough. I know it's such a huge difference. I'd say 2 years ago, I'd be working with people on their resume, they'd land an interview straight away, there'd be job offers, and it was going really, really fast. There is definitely a change. Things have slowed down a lot. The competition is incredibly high. And that's why it's so important to be well prepared, to have a strong resume, and to be prepared for the interviews as well, and have a really strong brand too. So when people look you up on LinkedIn, they clearly see what your capabilities are, for example. So I think that's you have to stand out in the crowd at the moment. I feel too that in some places I've been working with some clients who are in their late 50s, early 60s, and they're struggling. And I think that's because they're seen as being they're never told that it's their age, but it's overqualified or too expensive. So again, you've got to make sure that your experience, your qualifications really make you stand out. And it is in all backgrounds. It's not just tech, but there are a lot of other industries. And the challenge too is that there are some companies that are trying to pretend it's not happening. So they're still posting vacancies online. They have no intention of filling. It's just to make it look as if it's business as usual for the company. Some of the major players did this early last year. They were posting adverts for job vacancies online, but there was no intention of filling them because we're actually laying off people. So it's important that sometimes if you get ghosted, which means if nobody responds to your application, you don't even get a general thanks but no thanks automated email, it's not necessarily you, it's not necessarily your CV, your resume, CV. It's just because they're not recruiting, despite the fact that they've got vacancies. Other companies might post vacancies just to see who's out there. Again, no intention of employing anybody unless there's a standout candidate who think, well, maybe it'd be worth our while trying to find a position for this person. So the market is tough and it is taking longer for people to find jobs, but nothing is impossible. You just have to work hard at it, be patient, be persistent, and be positive. 3 Ps, yeah.
Okay, if I am a job seeker, I want to ask you this. I've been trying to get a job. I have taken help. I have got my resume written, and I does not find a job still. And so, what would you suggest me? I mean, say, do you think I should alter my trajectory? That means, should I take up any job right now to survive the bills and everything? How would you give advice on the money management? Should we save up if we are still working? Should we start saving, or what should we do? The first question, I would say these are 2 questions. The first question would be, what should I do? I have done everything, but I did not get a job. So should I change my trajectory and look from some other alternative?
Okay, I think if you've done everything, the first key thing to do is every time you apply for a job is to tailor your CV. Okay, it's really important to make it more closely match the job description, and that's because the first person looking at your CV or resume is not the hiring manager. They can't necessarily read between the lines with your experience. They're looking at your resume against the job description. They're looking for a match. Well, you need to make it clear to them that there is a match. It's the same. Most companies nowadays are using applicant tracking systems, which is a software that scans your resume before it's seen by a person. You've got to get it through that system without doing any of the tricks that are possible to do to make it look as if you're the right candidate when you're not. So you've got to be really honest. Any changes to make your resume must be backed up in the evidence section with experience. So yeah, that's the first thing. Tailoring your CV is more likely to get an impact. If you throw the same resume or CV out for every single position, it's not going to work. Okay, you need to be focused. You need to create a document that really targets the type of role that you're looking for. If you've been doing that for a period of time and not getting anywhere, then you need to think, is your skill set right for that role that you're looking for? Okay. And that's when you need to take a step back, reassess your skill set, reassess your experience, work experience that you have and your qualifications. Are they in line with what companies are looking for that position? If not, what can you do about it? Can you do more courses and training if that's an area you really want to be in? then start upskilling. If that's not working, maybe it's time to think, okay, what else can I do with my skill set? Okay. When it comes to, we all have to pay the bills for sure. I can't say to people when they should decide to just go and do a bar job instead of being a marketing specialist because they can't get a job in that area. We often know it's really important to know your financial situation yourself and know at what point you've got to say, right, I just need to take something that's going to pay those bills while I work on upskilling, while I work on figuring out the right direction for me. And that is important because I do understand that sometimes we do just have to pay the bills. We have to take anything. But at the same time, if you do that, then I'd be looking at upskilling at the same time. Okay. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Everybody's got to manage their own financial situation. I would never be giving financial advice to people, but I would say if you're struggling, just get a job, whatever it is you can do to help pay the bills, and upskill and figure out what the right thing for you is based on your experience and skill set.
Thank you. That's a powerful advice. If you're working, guys, if you're listening to me, I would advise you, if you're working right now, start saving and get your resume ramped up because nothing is permanent. The job market is unpredictable.
That's true. Very true.
Exactly. So, speaking of which, I just wanted to ask you, while we were speaking about the thing, what trajectory job seeker who's not getting a job should choose, you spoke about the application tracking system, the dreaded and the dangerous ATS compliant resumes everywhere. Every job seeker usually get 10 to 12 messages or calls every day in the US from Nigeria. I do not want to take the name of places, but they say ATS compliant resume, ATS compliant keywords. So what in the world is ATS in the first place, and how it works, and why it filter out so many good people with good skills?
Yeah, it's a lot of people see the applicant tracking systems as a negative, as a threat to them, a block to them getting the job that they want. But you know what? It's not. It can actually really, it can help you a lot, because what I always do is when I worked on a resume for somebody, I say, right, I hate the term generic, but this is your generic. This is your template document. This is the one you can send to recruitment agencies, but you've got to tailor it for these. And it's not just for the applicant tracking systems. Not all companies use them, okay? The applicant tracking systems scan the resume for keywords. And these keywords, if they're on your resume and you say you need to be about at least a 70% match, then it increases the chances of it being seen by a person. Now, some companies, some hiring managers are really good. They say they want to see all the resumes anyway, but they receive hundreds and hundreds these days that it makes it impossible. So they only then take the top ones. And the way that good candidates are getting missed is because they're not tailoring them. But it's also these applicant tracking systems, they're not just causing a headache for job seekers, it's a headache for recruiters as well and hiring managers, because people are playing the game. They're putting all these keywords, stuffing their resumes with keywords just to get through these systems. And then the person reading it has got to figure out, right, is this true or is it not? I would always say never, ever add a keyword or a key skill to your resume that you cannot back up in the evidence and experience section, and if you cannot talk about it confidently in an interview, because you're going to get caught out and you'll be shown the door, okay? Which isn't good at all. What you want to do is go through the job description, highlight all the keywords that are on it, then look at your resume and say, right, are those keywords on my resume? If not, what ones can I add? And add as many as you can. If I'm not opposed to AI. AI can help. Never, ever let AI write your resume for you, because it'll be generic fluff. It'll be And a good hiring manager can see straight away that it's been written by AI. I receive resumes from people to review, and I take one look at them and I know straight away it's been written by AI. Okay? You don't want to do that. It's far too obvious, and that's also causing headaches to hiring managers. No matter how good you are, if it's written by AI, a lot of the time it will end up in the bin or in the no pile. You can use it to help. So what you could do when it comes to tailoring your CV or resume, I use CV and resume as the same thing. I know it's different in the States, but a CV in Europe is a 2-page document, the same as an American resume. So it's interchangeable. You could put the job description, the key points of the job description, into whatever AI you use, say ChatGPT or Copilot, whatever, and say, ask the question, what are the critical keywords in this job description? And it'll do that bit for you. You can then check it against your resume, the list that it gives you, and see which ones you can add. What your AI will say to you is, let me add them for you. Let me rewrite it for you and add all of these. Don't do that, because again, it's not authentic. It's not your words. It'll add things that you have no experience in. So you need to go through that list. You need to figure out which ones are you can confidently discuss in an interview, which ones you can add to your resume, and then add them. Don't just add them as a list of words, though. Find a way to put them into the experience section as best you can. That's really important, because if you just stuff it with the top part of or a section of your CV or resume with keywords, again, it's obvious you're just trying to play the applicant tracking system game. Instead, read through the experience. How can you incorporate those keywords into what you've done in your writing? And it's not that difficult. Once you've done it a couple of times, you'll get really fast at it, and you'll be able to speed up how quickly you apply for jobs. So it's, So the applicant tracking system, they're good. They actually help you in that respect. They help you to get your resume one step further in the process, to hopefully get an interview, but at least get it seen by a person. So it's, it's not the big black hole that a lot of people say it is.
Awesome advice. Awesome advice. I am enlightened. I never knew so much in-depth detail about the ATS. I've been working in the recruitment sector or field for a good around 10 years. And I've been working with some of the best ATS in the market, like Job Diva, Bullhorn, CPI. But the way it works is, what happened was when I started recruitment as a recruiter or as a hiring manager or as a person who is looking onto the resumes, what we would do is Control F and the skill. We used to do that. Yeah. Control F and the skill. But that was very that was a good practice when compared to filtering out resumes through ATS, application tracking system, because at least your resume reaches the table.
Right.
But here the resumes does not reach your table. I have worked live hire. Do you know about this ATS live hire?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, this is a new ATS. The founders are from Australia. They have started live hire, and live hire had the capacity of around 100,000 resumes, 200, 300, 500,000 resumes capacity. Mm-hmm. And when you try to search from that pile of resumes, even if your resume is there is no chance that your resume is going to, make it through. So anyways, ATS is a vast subject. Every now and then I see on LinkedIn people talking about ATS this, ATS that, ATS compliant resume. Get your resume done right now, just only for $199.99. That's kind of a crazy thing. Right now the job market is tough. people have lost jobs. Some people are on notice. Some
Yes.
people would be losing their jobs very soon. And between that, they does not know who is the right person they need to approach for career advice. For speaking, I mean, say they need to speak to someone to understand what is going on in the market. To be very honest, if I am in a company working as a software developer, I haven't changed my company for about 5 years or 10 years. Does not know about the market outside. That is where people like Anne Galloway, your go-to expert, comes into picture. She's going to help you out with each and everything. So make sure you get in touch with her ASAP. Anyhow, my audience, if you are, if you've got any questions regarding this job market or anything about your resume, this is your chance to speak directly to Anne. And if Anne permits, I'm going to bring you on stage as well. Anyhow, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments box, and I'm going to put them across to Anne, and she would be happy to answer them all. Okay, Anne. And now, it's a long debate. It has been happening from a very long time. Tough question to you again. On our LinkedIn profiles.
Okay.
As putting the open to work banner make us look very desperate for the job? Yes, we are desperate. But that sign will make you look like easy catch, or hiring managers look for people who does not care at all to get a job? Or what kind of philosophy is going on right now? What is this discussion going on? And what is the open to work? Should we put it or we should not put it?
This debate's been going on for a while, and I find it really interesting to hear people's views. And some people are very opinionated one way or the other. I don't think we need it, to be honest. What's important is that the recruiters can find you and that you're open to recruiters. And you can do that on LinkedIn. You can set your profile to be open to recruiters to see that you're open to work. And that means you don't have that banner on your profile. In the About section of your profile, at the end of that, you can make it clear there that you are open to work by not saying you're open to work, but ending it with a call to action. Your About section of your LinkedIn profile is like your elevator pitch. It's like who you are, why you do, what you like about it, why you're good at it, a little bit of personal information about yourself, maybe your other interests, for example, and then end with, maybe you could say something along the lines of looking for your next opportunity to add value to another company where you can use your skills and experience in X, Y, and Z, or something like that. So it's saying to people, I'm here, If you want to ask me a question, reach out. That helps you expand your network. Or I'm looking for my new next opportunity, so other people can see that you're open to work without having that banner. But it's a personal thing. If you want to put the banner there, I would never say to somebody, don't do it. It's a personal thing. I would give advice, as I've just said. And if they want to put it on, they will. I'm not sure if it helps, to be honest. But it is a personal thing. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It does. I also heard a hiring manager saying don't hire desperate people because they will not stay on the job for long, and kind of different perspective and different advices, different things, different thoughts have been making around on LinkedIn, to be very honest. So I would like to ask you, out of curiosity, it's not part of the question, but out of curiosity, I would want to ask you, a LinkedIn profile is important, or a resume, or both?
Oh gosh, both. Oh. You need your resume to apply for a job. You need a really strong LinkedIn profile to be found for a job, because people don't know that you're out there if you don't have a really strong profile on LinkedIn. I've worked with some amazing candidates who, one in particular recently, she was new to the Netherlands, didn't speak Dutch, didn't feel her English was good enough either, wasn't prepared to start applying for jobs, but we worked on the process. We did a resume, we worked on our LinkedIn profile, and all of a sudden she got contacted from a recruiter for a job. And she called me in a panic. What am I supposed to do? I don't feel confident in interviews. I said, go for it. Just do your best. They contacted you. You've got no pressure. She's now working for the company. So if you can get found for positions, especially when the job market is so tough just now, that takes a lot of pressure off. And it doesn't take much to create a really strong profile. It helps you to get found. Okay. And this again is where your network is so important. That the market is tough. And I read recently an article, there's roughly 80% of vacancies are currently being filled by referrals or somebody within the network. So you can be applying to all these jobs that are placed online, but you're less likely to get considered unless you have a referral or somebody in your network can put in a good word for you. That really, really helps. I forgot to mention that when we looked at that question earlier. So this is where LinkedIn can help as well, because you can really grow your network on LinkedIn. And your network doesn't have to be professional, doesn't have to be other people who do the same job as you or in the same industry as you. Anybody and everybody you meet is part of your network. I got one of my best clients in Scotland through speaking to somebody in my kids' playground, one of the parents. I've worked with somebody here who was in a very niche field, very difficult to get into. Her daughter was playing sports and she got talking to the sports coach, and he said, oh, I know somebody who can help you out, somebody who's in the same field. And these are the people in your network. Everybody and anybody you meet can help you to get your next job. So yeah, LinkedIn is really important, as is your resume. You need them both.
Awesome. And one more fun fact about LinkedIn. Your network is your net worth. And also, for my audience, I would like to tell that your LinkedIn information should match your resume. And nothing should be over inflated. I mean, just what happens, and I have seen people when I was into recruitment, before I've started my own business, I still work in the hiring and the recruitment sector. I've seen people over inflating things.
Oh yeah.
And that is going to bite them hard when they go to the interview, when they, in front of the interviewer, if questions are asked in depth, he wouldn't be able to answer. So I think LinkedIn profile and resume, the dates, the responsibilities, and everything else should match each other. I mean, say, there shouldn't be any contradictory statements.
Right. That's where I agree 100%. One should not contradict the other. I'm jumping in here, I'm sorry, but the way I see it is they have to represent your brand. You are your brand. Each document, everything you put out there has got to represent that brand. So it's got to be consistent. It should never be an exact copy. So the experience section can be more or less the same, but you've got to be very careful. LinkedIn is in the public domain. Your resume should be treated as confidential when it's seen by a hiring manager. So you cannot put anything confidential on your LinkedIn profile. So if you're talking in terms of achievements on your resume, maybe you increased sales by 50%, that's okay. You could maybe put that on LinkedIn, but you couldn't put onto LinkedIn that you managed a budget of 300 million, for example, and you increased sales by 25,000, because these are exact figures and it could be seen as being confidential. So you could be very careful with that, but you're right, you have to be consistent. Your brand has got to come through consistently between each. The number of people, so I see, who've got a brief profile on the top of their resume and they copy and paste it into the about section of their LinkedIn profile and think, yeah, that's it, it's fine, done. It's not. LinkedIn is social media, albeit it's meant to be professional social media, but it's still social media. So it's more about you and you as a person. So whoever looks at your resume goes to LinkedIn to find out more about you. So you've got to let more about you come across on LinkedIn, and it's free advertising space. So use it. for sure. Just be consistent with your branding. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you also work on LinkedIn profiles by any chance, Anne?
I do, yes. Yes, I do.
Well, that's great. So people who are looking to enhance their LinkedIn presence and also get the most out of that platform, LinkedIn, they can reach out to Anne and she will help you with both your resume and also your LinkedIn profile. I hope everybody is listening and they have tons of questions at the end of the session. Hello, Suma. How are you today? You've got a question? Could you please let us know where you are tuning in from? And do you want to speak? Okay, you've got a question. LinkedIn profile is usually static, so how do we change or tailor it as per job description? Suma, Anne, would you want to answer quickly, or do you want to keep it at the end of the session, towards the end of the session?
I don't mind. We can do it now since we're discussing LinkedIn if you want.
Sure. Please go ahead.
This is actually a question I get asked a lot of times. You can't, okay? You can't, well, not to the same extent as you can tailor your CV. You tailor your CV to match the jobs you're applying for. Your LinkedIn profile should be broad enough that it covers, that it's really clear that you can do the types of job you're applying for. Okay. When it comes to tailoring it, though, there are a few things you can do regarding your skills, but you cannot change every time. All right. When you're applying for a job, and the best way I would say is don't use easy apply. Sometimes you've no option, in which case, okay, use it. But the thing about easy apply, when you click on that, you don't always get the chance to upload your resume. And if you don't get a chance to upload your resume, you're not selling yourself. You want the hiring manager to see, and they don't see your full LinkedIn profile when you use easy apply anyway. They only see aspects of it. May not be the best aspects if you've not filled it in properly. So always find a way to upload your CV or your resume for every application, even if it means going to the company website yourself, looking up their careers page, trying to find out where the job posting is on their careers page and applying directly there rather than hitting on easy apply. Some people, you could sit and press easy apply and do 101 applications in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if you don't have to upload your resume. And then you're going to get contacted. If you're lucky, you might get contacted by a recruiter and you're going to think, which job was that did I apply for? I haven't a clue. If you've actually had to spend a little bit of time tailoring your resume for the applications, you're always going to know when you get that call which position it was that you'd applied for, and you'll remember having applied for it. So you can't, there are a few tips and tricks that I can share. When I work with people on the resumes, there's a few things I can show you. It's hard, I can't show you now. I need to have LinkedIn open and show you where to go in it. But a few things regarding your skill set, you can change each time. But the rest of your profile, what I would say is if there's something in the job description that isn't clear on your profile that you can do, then maybe just amend your profile a little bit for that. But yeah, you can't amend your LinkedIn completely every time you apply, but you can your resume. And that's where, again, your resume, it's social media, it's your story, it's your elevator pitch. It's more about who you are, how you do what you do, how good you are at what you do. So people are going there to find out more. They won't, I think few hiring managers, even if you apply with your LinkedIn profile, you're going to end up with submit a resume at some point, or you should have to. If you don't, I'd be wary of how far you get in the process. Unless your LinkedIn profile is an exact match for what they're looking for. But yeah, you can't do that every time. So
thank you.
I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's an insightful answer. I hope, Suma, you've got your answer. Make sure that if you've got any more doubts, you speak directly with Anne. She would be happy to help you out. Also, please let us know where you are tuning in from. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on, move forward with the session. And I would like to ask you one more thing. Mm-hmm. Do you think, as we have just spoken about the easy apply button, rather than hitting that option or button, easy apply, should we directly speak to the hiring manager through LinkedIn or the recruiter who's hiring for that job? Does that make any difference or leave any good or bad impression if we directly approach the recruiter?
Okay. 9 times, well, I would say even 10 times out of 10, they're going to say, follow the application procedure. So, there's apply and there's easy apply. So you can hit the apply button, or you can find the jobs on the company website and apply direct that way. Only, I would say, contact the recruiter. Quite often the recruiter's name will be on the bottom of the job description. Reach out if you've got any questions and look at the name, then go back to them with a question. That's fine, not a problem. A lot of the times they don't say who the hiring manager is. They sometimes don't even say who the recruiter is. Now, with a lot of research or a bit of research, you can quite often find that out. But if their name isn't there, quite often, if you reach out to connect with them on LinkedIn during a hiring process, they may not want to connect with you because they're maybe not allowed to during the hiring recruitment process to connect with potential candidates. So if the name's there, then yes. Or if you know through somebody, if you've got a connection who works in the company and they know who the hiring manager is, then you could reach out to the hiring manager with a question about the job. Don't just send a connect, click on connect and don't put a personal message. Always put a personal message. And in this case, specifically, something to do with the job. They might answer. If they don't worry, it could well just be because they're not allowed to as part of the process, the recruitment process. Again, you could name drop. If there's somebody within the company that and they've maybe suggested that you apply for the position, then when you submit your application, if you put in a motivation or cover letter, you can then mention that person's name. That can help for sure. But the question that you asked, I think it really depends. If the recruiter's name or the hiring manager's name is on the job description, reach out and ask them a question. Then they know that you're interested and that you're doing your research on the job and the company. If not, the chances are they might not connect with you if you find out who they are. So, yeah.
Okay, that's an insightful answer. Thank you so much for letting us know that. I would not dare to speak to the recruiter directly if I was a job seeker, but after listening to you, it totally depends. So now, one more question I would want to ask is about, there are 2 questions actually. Not sure which one to ask first. What do you have to say about the hidden job market, especially for the C-suite executives at the high level? These jobs are not posted online. How do you think that if a person wants to get into that space, into the hidden job market, what he needs to do? Is it completely depends on the networking thing, or how should he approach for these kind of jobs of 200K, 250, 300K jobs?
Yeah, these are tricky because you're right, they're not advertised. The hidden jobs market is quite often seen as this big dark hole, but it's not. It's just knowing your network and it's contacting people. So if you're in a really senior position, there are fewer jobs at those levels. So it is all about networking. It's knowing the companies you want to work for, finding out as much about them as possible, and then letting them know that you're available, and more importantly, letting them know what you can do for them. So it's finding out what their challenges are at the moment, how you can help them solve those challenges. That makes you the next senior person within the company. Whether they have the vacancy or not at that point in time when you're looking, you just don't know. But you can certainly let them know that you're aware of what some of the problems are. This is what you can do to help. And even at lower levels, that the hidden jobs market affects all of us at some point, because it's the jobs that are not always advertised online, or accessing these jobs before they go online. That's also the hidden jobs market. And that is, again, using your network. And it depends on how you want to use your network. I do know one guy, he came from Australia. He didn't want to follow the formal way of applying for jobs. He just invited people out for coffee. And after a lot of coffees, he got a job offer. So that works as well. That's just all about expanding your network. And as I said earlier, everybody and anybody that you know is within your network. So it's not just all about professional networking. It's just people that you know. And if they're in a company that you want to work for, they'll hear about new vacancies before they're advertised, and that gives you that foot in the door before everybody else. Some companies these days too are offering bonuses to their employees if a referral accepts a job offer. So it's a win-win. So it's finding people within the company that you want to work for that you can then connect with, and genuine connections. Never send a message to somebody to connect on LinkedIn saying you're wanting to apply for a job. Would they refer you? They don't know you from anybody else. Why would they? But if you build up a connection with them, then when an opportunity does appear at the company, you may then get to hear about it before it goes on the market. So it doesn't just affect senior people. It's tougher for senior people because there are fewer jobs at their level. But it is just finding out as much as you can about the companies you want to work for and seeing how you can help them. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's great advice for people looking help on the senior level. I hope that, and you work with senior level executives as well, people with VPs and directors, directorial level, management level people as well. So they can reach out to you anytime for expert advices and help. Anyhow, and one more thing I wanted to ask you, does the recommendations on a LinkedIn profile or anywhere from your past employers, does that have much weightage on your resume or your job search journey? How does that work?
The recommendations on LinkedIn, yes, they will be read by recruiters and hiring managers for sure. They are worthwhile. Things like on your skills, you can get, the word is completely gone, sorry. You're talking about recommendations, but on your skills, you can get, also people can why is the word gone? It's completely gone.
There are skills, endorsements,
that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, endorsements. Sorry, it completely went. My head went into Dutch for a second. But endorsements, yes. Endorsements are not really worth anything because, I can click through, for example, on your profile and endorse you for all your skills, and we've never worked together in that respect. So they're not really worth anything. But recommendations are. If you can get a few good recommendations on your profile, it can make a difference. Will it get you the job? It might not, but it might help to get you an interview. That's the thing. It's all these steps. Every step. A resume doesn't get you a job. It gets you an interview. A strong LinkedIn profile hopefully helps to get you an interview as well, or at least get your CV read again a second time. So yes, I think endorsements are good. And the great thing about endorsements are you can ask people to endorse you for a project or a job that you worked on, and they can do that on LinkedIn, but you get to review it before it goes live on your profile. So that's quite useful as well. But they are worth it, I think. I've read a lot of things about, hiring managers will look at them. So yeah, it is worthwhile.
Exactly.
If you can get.
Speaking of which, I'm going to get to you. Just after the session, I'm going to request you for a recommendation. How about that?
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyways, this is my chance to get a recommendation from great people I speak to every now and then. That will make my LinkedIn profile more professional.
Yep, we can do that for you. Yeah.
Sure. So moving on with this session, as we are running out of time, we haven't covered even 2 to 3 questions from the script. This is a vast subject, if people are very eager and curious to know more about this, I would respectfully, ask you, uh, I wanted to request you for one thing. If in the coming future, if there is a slot available, and I know that you are extremely busy and your time is precious, if possible, can we schedule one more session with you?
Yeah. Yep. We can try and find time to do that. No problem. Yep.
Sure. Anytime in the coming March or April, I would love to have a session, because this is a vast subject and people have started losing their jobs. Some people are on the verge of losing a job. Some people, to be very honest, from the statistics right now, in the US, homelessness is at its peak. People are not able to pay their bills. And this is from the facts. Just, say, if you read yesterday's edition of the New York Times, you will find the news about this. The economy is in shambles. But anyways, we've still got some time. I hope you don't mind if I ask some more questions. I have very important and interesting questions as well for helping these job seekers. Okay, so I would want to ask you, Anne, from your incredible expertise, would you want to, tell us about, how to stand out as a job seeker? As we already know that you have coached professionals from various industries, and while every field is unique, I imagine there are some universal traits that help job seekers stand out. So how should a job seeker should stand out in the first place?
Yeah, great question. The best way to stand out is to have your LinkedIn profile, have your resume talking in terms of achievements, rather than I was responsible for. Talk about what you achieved. Put in quantify results where you can. I know it's not always possible, but rather than saying that you managed a team, saying you managed a team of 8 to 10 full-time employees. That has a lot more weight than just you managed a team. Turn everything that you did, make sure you get those achievements on there. The number of people who don't, the resumes that I see that have virtually no achievements on them, and that's why you don't get called for an interview. Hiring managers are not so interested in what you were responsible for as to what you did and what you achieved. And that's what makes you stand out. So really think about, what it is that you've done well and how you did it and what the results were. I call them CAR stories, challenge, action, result. Some people call them the STAR method. So it's an interview method, a way of answering interview questions. But if you think in terms of what was the problem? What did you do? What did you achieve? That's what will make you stand out. It's the result. Because they're then going to say, oh, I wonder how they managed to do that. They're going to speak to you in an interview. The great thing then is that the interview question is going to be, how did you get that result? And you can easily talk about it because it's something that you did, something you achieved, so you feel good about it. And you can easily talk about what you did to get that result. So make sure the way to stand out is talk in terms of results. Yeah.
Awesome. To make us stand out, we need to make sure that we need to enlist our achievements on our resume. And one more question, which is, I know you're running out of time, but just give me the liberty to ask one more important question, which is the most important question right now. As you already know, that we've been through COVID. Back from 2020 to 2021, there have been layoffs, lockdowns, quarantines. People lost their jobs at that time, and from then on, everything has been a roller coaster ride for people who are professionals. How would you advise people, or how would you help job seekers explain the resume gap? The resume gaps are very common. But this is where most brilliant people are losing opportunities. People are not able to explain the resume gaps. They try to be very honest, or they does not want to talk about it. So how would you want a job seeker to go with that?
It's interesting. I think since COVID, it's not such a huge issue having a gap on your CV, a short gap of a year or so because of COVID. So many people have that gap now. It's not such a big thing. So that's a bit of a plus. But gaps are always going to be questioned. So if the gap is something you're not so keen to talk about, but you don't put anything on your resume about it to explain it, then it's going to get picked up. So, for example, if maybe you had a gap maybe you had a burnout, okay, and you don't want to say you had a burnout and took a gap because of burnout, because then another new employer is going to think, but don't know if I had one burnout, will they have another one? You could just say something like, never lie, obviously, in your CV, but you could say time out for family health reasons. That covers that. If you're a member of your family, it was family health reasons, you don't have to necessarily say it's yours, per se. Other gaps, if you've been laid off and it's not, and you haven't been able to get something else, what have you done in that time? Hopefully, you've been doing something, whether it's been looking after an elderly relative or kids, or helping out, volunteering somewhere, or maybe even upskilling. So if you're in a gap at the moment, if you're not working and there's a gap, do anything you can to fill that gap. That you can say you've been upskilling, then you have to be able to list courses or trainings that you've done. And there's so many trainings available now online, and some of them are either free or very low cost. Volunteering, it's a great thing to add to your resume as well, because you learn so much when you're volunteering and giving back. It's a really good thing to do. It can add skills to your resume as well, and it fills that gap. So don't just sit at home doing nothing and feeling sorry for yourself. It is tough if you've been laid off. Give your time to accept that and get through it, and then think, right, what am I going to do to fill in this time? Apart from applying for jobs, I need to do something else. And I would definitely say volunteer or upskill are the best ways forward. Okay.
Thank you so much. I know we are coming to the end of the session, but more 5 minutes for the last question. I mean, say if you've got time. I'm not going to push you for that, but it is completely up to you. Can you give us 5 minutes, please? I insist. Sure. I request. I wouldn't insist. So, as we already know that you have written some groundbreaking books, and in your career for job seekers, there is one remarkable book, Power to Change. Could you let us know about that book, and how can we get that book, and what we will get after reading that book? Could you please shed some light on that?
I'm not sure which one I've written. Two. I'm doing a series, which is Power to Change series. And so far I've written two. One is on job interviews, and the other's on conquering imposter syndrome. So, getting confident again. Those are part of that. I'm not sure which one you want to talk about, the imposter syndrome one or the interview skills one. Interview skills. Yeah, this it's actually going to be updated again fairly soon. That's the thing. I'm always looking for ways to up skills, as I said earlier, and anything new I find, I always pass on. So I found some new information I want to pass on to people. So the interview one it's packed full of tips right down from the basic stuff, from the different types of interviews you can have, right through to how to answer different types of questions. I mentioned the challenge, action, result format before, or the STAR format. That's brought in there as well, how to answer questions well. And it's not about memorizing answers. It's knowing what you've done, knowing what you've achieved, and turning it into short stories that are really interesting for the interviewer to hear. It's full of loads of different tips and tricks for not memorizing answers as such, because that doesn't work. You've got to show that you can think on the spot, and if you memorize your answers and the exact question isn't asked, or even if it is asked and you try to regurgitate your answer and you suddenly forget a line, it can really throw you. So it's all about how to learn, remember the key points, but not word for word your answers. There are so many different, hundreds of different interview questions out there. There's no way you can memorize answers for everyone. And at the end of the day, interviewers are only looking for a few things. It's, can you do the job? How good are you at what you do? And are you a good fit for the company? So this is where the stories, your achievement stories, are the best way to sell yourself in interviews. So that's in here. It's also tips for if you've got some of the consultancy firms use specific interview styles and questions. There's mention about how to answer those in there as well. Behavioural questions. They're always interesting. That's ones you have to tell a story about. Tell me a time when a project didn't go to plan. These types of questions. So it's full of information like that and tips and strategies for interview success. So right from very basics right through to how to answer detailed questions. And it's a short book, despite having all that information. It's not a huge read, but it's packed full of useful tips for people that are interested.
Awesome. I would also want to ask my audience and let them know. See, my mission to bring you experts from around the world. Why I have taken this initiative on LinkedIn. I have my own business. I run a successful business. And the main reason I've took up this podcast series with experts from around the world, because I have seen so many scams going on LinkedIn. Yeah. Scams in many ways, and mostly they target desperate job seekers. And that pains my heart. That breaks my heart. When I see people getting scammed for $1,000, $2,000, some people, people who are struggling right now to get the groceries, and these scammers come in and they try to scam people who are good and honest people. That is where I thought that I should take up this initiative of bringing you experts from around the world. Not just experts, but people who know their craft very well. And that is the reason I bring you people who are authentic, genuine, and they deliver their promise. And Anne is one of them. And I would quickly want to ask you about your services and your coaching services, and how do you, give out resume writing services. So how should we get in touch with you, and how should we reach you?
The easiest way is probably via LinkedIn, via my profile on LinkedIn. And I always say that the best thing to do is to send me your current resume if you have one, or just connect so I can at least see your LinkedIn profile. We would then have a short call. That's always free and no obligation. And the purpose of that is to make sure that I can help you to find out what your situation is, what your career plans are, tell you why your resume isn't selling you in the right ways. So again, you're getting some free tips. You can go off and make the changes that I say to you yourself if you want. Based on our discussion, I then send out a proposal and we take it from there. So the proposal is basically outlines how we'd work together as well, and the cost of doing so. And then we just take it from there. So no hard sell, because it's something I really don't believe in. Totally with you about the number of scams that are out there. I think it's a disgrace. Never, ever pay someone for a job. So if you get approached by a recruiter saying, I can guarantee you a job if you pay me €1,000, walk away from them. It's a scam. I know sometimes the best world in the world, we get caught into that because you're so desperate for a job. You just think, oh, yeah, if they promise they're going to give me one, I'm sure I'm going to get one. But these scammers are out there, so be careful. And I think it's always important too to have call with people to make sure that we can work together, because it's I don't just take the resume you send me and rehash it, because that's what it'd be, a rehash. I don't believe in that. I want to know so much more. So lots of questions get asked. But we need to have a connection to make sure we can work together. So yeah, that's the way I normally work.
Also, not only get your resume written by Anne, but also she's going to help you out with the interview process. She's going to stay with you until and unless you are on this journey. And definitely that's a paid service, but you can book a call to understand more about this for free with Anne anytime you want to. So with that, Anne, and it has been a real pleasure to speaking with you, and it's so enlightening. To be very honest, I never knew many answers, and I have many more questions. And as I have requested and taken your availability and taken your consent, I'm going to get back to you again, and I'm going to try to schedule one more session with you regarding the job market, the resume writing. Most of the people would love to see what is the mistake they are doing while writing their resume, or
Oof. Yeah. Yeah.
they want to know where do they have to mention their education details, at the top or at the end. So these are the questions. These are the questions which these people are having, and I am committed to help each and every person reach the right people, reach the right knowledge.
Mhm.
So, as we wrap up the session, and this has been an absolute masterclass in career strategy. And your journey, expertise, and passion for helping job seekers are truly inspiring. Thank you for sharing such valuable insights with us today.
Thank
To
you.
our To our listeners, if you found value in this conversation, make sure to follow Anne on LinkedIn and check out her incredible work at Power to Change book series. And as always, stay tuned for more expert conversations right here on the SHAQ podcast, where we bring you the best minds from around the world to help you thrive in your career and beyond. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep chasing your dreams.